They laughed as they tore her shirt right in the middle of the school cafeteria. Food trays dropped. Students stared. Phones recorded. It was meant to humiliate her, to remind her she didn't belong. But they had no idea who she truly was, or what she was capable of. Seconds later, the laughter turned to gasps as the quiet exchange student flipped their leader into the floor so hard. The whole school froze. This is the story of Hannah, and it starts with fear, but ends in fierce strength. Hannah had arrived from South Korea just 3 weeks earlier. She was an exchange student sent to a public high school in the US as part of a language and leadership program. Excited but nervous, she came with dreams, learning new culture, making friends, improving her English. She had no family nearby, only a host family that left her mostly to herself. The only thing she brought from home that gave her comfort was her black belt in Hapkido, a martial art her grandfather had taught her since she was a child. But at school, none of that seemed to matter. From the very first day, Hannah was treated like a ghost. She spoke with an accent. She dressed modestly. She kept to herself. That was all the excuse some of the students needed to target her? They called her names she couldn't fully understand at first. They mimicked her accent, laughed when she answered questions in class. At lunch, they sat behind her and whispered things that made her ears burn. She never told her teachers. She didn't want to be a problem. She just wanted to blend in. Invisible. Get through the semester. But the bullies weren't satisfied with her silence. One of them, Kyle, the football team's loudmouth, was the ringleader. Big, arrogant, and always needing attention, he took special pleasure in mocking Hannah whenever others were watching. His group of friends followed him like shadows. Then came the cafeteria incident. It was a Tuesday. Hannah sat alone, as always, quietly eating rice she had brought from home in a small container. She had chosen a seat near the back, hoping to avoid the noise and chaos. But Kyle and his friends spotted her from across the room. "Let's give our little ninja girl some love," he smirked. They walked over, loud and confident, drawing attention. Kyle leaned over Hannah's shoulder and made fake karate sounds. The other students started snickering. Hannah looked down, her hands trembling slightly. Then it happened, without warning. Kyle reached for the collar of her shirt and yanked it. The thin fabric tore with a loud rip, exposing her shoulder and part of her chest. Someone gasped. Another person laughed. Phones came up. The whole room was watching. Hannah's face turned red, not from embarrassment, but from something much deeper. She stood up slowly, eyes locked on Kyle. He chuckled. "Oh no, is the little warrior going to cry?" He didn't even see it coming. In one fluid motion, Hannah grabbed his wrist, twisted it, stepped in, and flipped him over her hip. He landed with a loud thud on the cafeteria floor. Air knocked out of his lungs. His tray flew into the air, spilling spaghetti all over him. Gasps erupted. Silence followed. Even the lunch staff paused. Hannah didn't say a word. She didn't scream. She didn't threaten. She simply stared at him as he lay groaning on the floor, completely humiliated. A teacher rushed over. Another student shouted she attacked him. But dozens of others jumped in. He tore her shirt. She didn't start it. It's all on video. The school administration had no choice but to review the footage. What they saw was undeniable. Calm student being bullied, harassed, and assaulted on, defending herself with precision and restraint. Kyle was suspended immediately. Hannah, instead of being punished, became something else. A symbol for every quiet student who had ever been humiliated. For every outsider who had stayed silent. For every kid who wanted to be left alone but was pushed too far. That day changed everything. The students began treating Hannah differently, not with fear, but with respect. She was no longer invisible. She wasn't the exchange kid anymore. She was Hannah, the girl who stood up for herself with quiet power. A few days later, the principal called her into the office. "You showed remarkable restraint," he said. "We'd like to offer you the chance to lead a self-defense workshop for students." Hannah blinked. "Me?" "Yes. We've had several students ask to learn from you. You inspired them. Asterisk, the workshop started with only 5 students. But within a month, over 30 had signed up. Hannah taught them not just moves, but confidence. She showed them how to walk taller, how to speak up, and how to protect themselves not just with strength, but with grace. Asterisk, she didn't become popular in the traditional sense, but she became something better, respected, admired, safe. And as the months passed, Hannah began to feel something she hadn't since she arrived. At home, she still missed her family, still struggled with English sometimes, but she knew she had done something that mattered. Asterisk, all because one day, someone crossed the line and she stood her ground. Asterisk, sometimes, the ones who stay quiet the longest are the ones you never see coming. And sometimes strength speaks louder than words.